Lieutenant Mara Kestrel had seen strange things during her 7-year deployment across the fringe systems. Sentient storms on Jupiter's upper moons, machines that dreamed in binary, plants that sang when touched. But nothing compared to the classified message she received the night before the fall of Outpost Vega 19. The alien queen has produced an heir. Cannot be allowed to reach maturity. Those 16 words crackled across her datapad, marked with the highest threat designation the Terran Coalition had. Mara read it twice, then a third time, hoping some nuance would reveal itself. None did. The alien queen, leader of the Lukroth swarm, destroyer of 6 human colonies, was already the most feared being in the quadrant. The idea of a child bred from her own genetic furnace was beyond chilling. 24 hours later, Vega 19 was ash and silence. Mara was one of only 14 survivors. The evacuation transport cut through the dust-thick skies of the barren moon Hytherion, the emergency landing tremor jolting those aboard. Mara stepped out, her combat boots sinking slightly into the powdered surface. The fractured horizon stretched endlessly, ridges, rust-colored dunes, and a horizon dimly lit by the dying star that the outpost orbited. She didn't have time to grieve Vega 19. Orders waited for her. Track the Queen's child, locate it before maturation, neutralize if necessary. Neutralize, not kill. That distinction bothered her. At the command tent, General Voss stood over a holographic star map, the familiar scar across his jawline deepening as he frowned. Kestrel, you're the best tracker we've got, and you're immune to Lukroth pheromonal interference. He zoomed in on a pulsating yellow signal. We intercepted a growth pod falling from Vega's atmosphere. It landed somewhere in Sector Epsilon. We believe the Queen sent her child away. Mara folded her arms. If the Queen wants it protected, why not keep it with her? She's dying, Voss said quietly. Our intel suggests her life cycle is ending. The swarm won't accept a successor unless it proves itself. And if it does? He let the implication hang. A Lukroth heir with full command of the swarm was an extinction-class threat. Mara accepted the mission without hesitation. Sector Epsilon was a graveyard of crystalline rock formations and jagged shadows. Assisted only by a microdrone, Mara scanned the region for unusual electromagnetic signatures. 3 hours passed before she found the first sign of the growth pod, a crescent-shaped gouge in the sand, smoldering at its edges. Her heart quickened. The pod was cracked open, its interior still warm. Something had hatched. Footprints, though foot was a generous term, led away from the crash site. Sharp, taloned impressions, each one nearly twice the span of her hand. But interspersed between them were smaller, hesitant claw marks. She knelt, brushing her fingers gently across the indentations. "You're young," she murmured, "but not helpless." Following the tracks, she reached a narrow canyon where the walls shimmered with mineral deposits. A low, warbling hum echoed from within. Instinctively, Mara drew her pulse rifle and advanced. Deeper in she found it. The creature stood barely 2 meters tall, not yet grown into the towering Lukroth warriors she'd seen in battle. Its exoskeleton was pale, its limbs slender, its eyes, glowing amethyst, fixed on her with a mix of curiosity and fear. And it was injured. A shard of its own growth pod was embedded in its side, ichor leaking slowly. The hum she'd heard was its pained breathing. Mara lowered her weapon. She knew Lukroth. She had fought them for years. They were merciless, relentless, impossible to negotiate with. But this one looked like a child. Lone. When she took a cautious step forward, it flinched and let out a sharp hiss. Only then did she notice the strange metal cuffs attached to its wrists, Terran tech, not alien. Before she could process the implications, a dozen red laser dots danced across the creature's body. "Do not engage, Lieutenant." General Voss's voice crackled from the ridge above as a squad of black-armored soldiers descended, weapons trained. Mara spun. "Sir, you said we were retrieving it, not executing." Voss climbed down, his expression hard. "New orders." The Queen's child already demonstrated aggressive growth patterns. It slaughtered an entire team of researchers who tried capturing it. He pointed to the cuffs. It was part of a containment experiment. It escaped. Mara stared at the child. His breathing quickened. Its gaze darted between her and the soldiers. "No," Mara whispered. "It's scared. It's defensive, not hostile." "Stand aside," Voss commanded. "That's an order." A tremor shook the canyon as the child emitted a mournful cry. The ground cracked, pebbles levitating briefly as if gravity itself hesitated. Energy surged around its thin frame, raw, volatile, uncontrolled. The air vibrated with power. The Lukroth heir was awakening. Soldiers panicked, pulling triggers. Mara acted before thinking. She threw herself between the child and the firing line, raising her energy shield. Plasma bursts ricocheted off the translucent barrier, scorching the canyon walls. "What are you doing?" Voss roared. "Stopping a war you're about to start," Mara shouted back. The child trembled behind her, gripping her shoulder with surprising gentleness, its claws retracting so as not to harm her. Mara slowly holstered her weapon and lifted both hands. "Listen to me," she said to the creature, her voice steady. "I'm not here to hurt you. I know you were chased, trapped, experimented on. But you don't have to fight." The energy swirling around the child dimmed slightly. "It understands you," one soldier whispered. "More than you think," Mara replied. General Voss raised his rifle. "Move, Lieutenant. Last warning." Mara shook her head. "Sir, if we kill it, the swarm will sense the Queen's heir dying. They'll retaliate. Billions could die. If we try to control it, we provoke them. But if we show mercy, if we offer alliance instead of fear, maybe we end this war." Voss hesitated. "You're gambling humanity's fate on a monster." The child looked up at Mara. Its eyes had softened. "No," she said softly. "I'm giving it a choice." The canyon fell silent. Then slowly the child stepped forward, placing itself beside Mara, not behind her. It faced Voss and lowered its head in a gesture unmistakably similar to a peaceful bow. Mara exhaled. The Lukroth heir became known simply as Eller. Under strict but humane supervision, it learned Terran language, Terran ethics, Terran restraint. It grew but not into a weapon, into a bridge. Within a year, Eller opened communication channels with the Lukroth swarm using frequencies only it could generate. For the first time in history, negotiations, not battles, took place. Peace blossomed where extinction once loomed. And Mara Kestrel, the soldier who had defied an army to protect a single frightened child, stood at the center of a new era, one where courage wasn't the strength to kill, but the strength to refuse. Because the alien queen's child was unstoppable, but only until a human soldier stepped in and chose compassion over fear.